Okay, thank you, Jolly. Okay, our next speaker, we have Greg Shatan, who is a partner at Moses and Singer's Intellectual Property Group and a member of their Internet and Technology practice, where he focuses on intellectual property and technology transactions, counseling and litigation relating to web accessibility under the ADA, Internet and domain name law and policy, trademark licensing, protection and enforcement, and data protection and privacy. Greg helps shape domain name policy as an active participant in ICANN, which is the International Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, which he's been a member of for over 10 years. Greg has also been an active member of the Internet Society for many years and since 2018 has been the president. Please welcome Greg Shatan.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here, and I'm sorry that I'm not there with you at the WHCR studios, but instead we're testing the World Wide Web, which of course should be able to withstand it. That's why we're all here. But I'm sorry not to be there. I grew up about a mile and a half south of City College and went to law school less than a mile south of City College. So it would have been taking me closer to home. Right now I live about 3 blocks from the tech hub that Gail Brewer was just discussing, so I'm looking forward to that as well. The Internet Society is a global organization that was founded in 1992 to carry forward the idea of an open and interconnected and secure, trustworthy Internet. The New York chapter of the Internet Society is almost as old. It was founded in 1997. So we celebrated the 21st birthday. We can now drink legally in New York. So the Internet Society's New York chapter is devoted to similar things that the global Internet Society is, but as with many things, we have to think globally and act locally. And we're part of that local action, and we're very glad to be able to support today's meeting and webinar. One of the 4 key factors, one that's particularly important to ISOC New York, as we call ourselves, is connecting the unconnected. And as the earlier remarks have clearly indicated, merely having the option to connect to the internet is only the beginning of the question of really connecting the unconnected. The connection has to be affordable. It has to be stable and reasonably state of the art. One of the politicians who represents Upper Manhattan described Upper Manhattan as a fiber desert. My building happens to be a fiber desert, but that's just my building. I'm surrounded by lots of fast fiber living down in Greenwich Village. So I know that inequality runs rampant in New York. NYC Mesh is one of the many ways that we hope things will change. NYC Mesh is an activity that is supported in part by the New York chapter of the Internet Society, and we're very proud to do so. New York is a unique place, as all of us New Yorkers know. I was born on this island and spent most of my life on it. So New York, looking at all 5 boroughs, and I have a son who lives in the Bronx and a wife who works in the Bronx, so I touch the Bronx quite regularly as well, lived in Brooklyn, etc. Gail Brewer was mentioning the school children of New York. The public school system of New York has over 1.1 million school children. If it were a city of its own, not even counting the teachers, administrators, and parents, New York City Public Schools would be the 9th largest city in the United States, just behind Dallas. New York City Public Housing is a city unto itself, roughly the size of Baltimore or Milwaukee. And yet people take a bigger picture look at New York and they fail to see what New York looks like in the neighborhoods and in public housing, in public schools, I'm proud to say I have two sons who graduated from New York City public schools. And the digital divide isn't just something that exists in faraway places. It's right here. That's why we're having this meeting. New York, the ISOC New York is dedicated to helping to not only close the digital divide in New York, but to let the rest of the world know that while New York may be the home of some of the fanciest apartments in New York and may have spawned our current president, that New York is also a place where opportunity can be thin. My wife works in a part of the Bronx where only 15% of the population has graduated from high school. Hard to get opportunities in that way. The digital divide isn't just something that exists in the hardest to connect places in the world, and I'll say the Global Internet Society has a contest that they're starting now relating to connecting the unconnected. And they talk about connecting some of the most difficult places to connect in the world. But New York is difficult in its own way. We may not be 15,000 feet above sea level. We may not be 100 miles from the nearest electricity, but New York poses its own challenges. And organizations that are working, as we'll be hearing in the next couple of hours, to meet the challenges that are unique to New York is critically important. And the Internet Society and the New York chapter stand ready to support efforts to close the digital divide in New York in any way that we can. We're not a mighty organization, at least the New York chapter, but we're not small either. We have plenty of reach and we have plenty of dedication. Stu Reed, who's introduced me, is a member of our board of directors. Jolie McPhee, who is helping to bring this meeting to the world, is a former president and member of the board of directors of the New York chapter. So we're all over the place, even if you don't see us. And I think that seeing the unseen, is a very important part of the overall message here. Now, having grown up in New York, I've seen great privilege and great distress, sometimes a block apart. I grew up on 101st Street in Central Park West. So I saw, reasonable amount of privilege in my building, and I walk around the corner to Manhattan Avenue, and it's a whole different story. It's very easy in New York to forget. It's very easy for the rest of the world to forget. So we need to remind the world, New Yorkers will help just about anybody, despite what people think. And we're going to help ourselves, but we need to get help and give help, around the world as well. I think it's important here as we act locally, and I'll stop talking so you can hear about some of the actual action that people are taking. Very important to keep the faith, keep moving forward, keep educating each other, keep moving toward goals and then more goals. And I look forward to the Internet Society New York chapter helping to do that. And I'm very glad, as I said before, that we're sponsoring today's event because this is a very important and hopefully only the first of many of these particular meetings to cover this issue that will ultimately bring the world together. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Greg Shatan, president of the Internet Society New York chapter. Thank you for those remarks, Greg.